Welcome to The Fight on Matrix Midwest with Randy Karraker and company.
Hi kids, happy Friday and welcome to The Fight. We've got some stuff for you today. That's Andrew Rogers, I'm Randy Karraker, and we've got stuff on Jayson Tatum, the St. Louisan and one of the best players in the NBA. We've got Gen C's talking some stuff on St. Louis City SC. They're in San Diego tomorrow. And we've also got the Friday Fight coming up later on this edition of the show. But first, Andrew, yesterday we expressed a little concern about the Cardinals hitting in spring training. Maybe we were wrong.
Or maybe we sparked them.
Yeah, that could be. The Cardinals' projected opening day lineup had struggled until yesterday. And in many cases, we did speak too soon. The Cardinals with an 8-4 win over the Marlins. And take a look at this. Lars Nootbaar, 1 for 3 with a run and an RBI. You've got Wilson Contreras going 2 for 2 with a run and an RBI. Nolan Arenado, I'll say it again, 2 for 2 with a 3-run homer. Pedro Pajes with 1 for 3 performance. And then Andrew's guy, Victor Scott, goes 1 for 2 with a walk and a couple of stolen bases. This is better. I like this.
Yeah, you say my guy too, because I love the way that the Cardinals used Victor Scott yesterday, and that will keep him in the lineup. That's his job, right? Is to get on first base, no matter how he does it, whether it's a walk, whether it's reach on an error, or whether it's a hit. You get to first base, but then the Cardinals allow him to take second base. That's what he needs to do. Look at what you saw yesterday. In 4 pitches, he takes second base, and then all of a sudden, that same hitter at the plate drives him in. That is what you need out of Victor Scott day in and day out.
And then you see Arenado there showcasing himself for the Yankees with the 3-run homer. That's really good to see. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we did concern ourselves with Nolan Gorman. There it is. That's a hard park to hit home runs in, too.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's a good sign for the Cardinals.
Great.
Nolan Gorman, yesterday, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Now, we had that report earlier in spring training from our good friend Tamar Scher and she was talking to Nolan Gorman. He said, nobody spent more time with our new hitting coach, Brant Brown, than I did. He said, he came to my house. I have a cage in my backyard. We worked on everything. Nolan Gorman still doesn't have a hit in the spring, so we got to get him going, we being the Cardinals, because if the Cardinals are going to be good, Gorman and Jordan Walker have to be good. That's just going to be the deal. So that's a big part of the offense. And Gorman striking out 3 times after striking out 37% of the time last year, not great.
Yeah, you can't be the guy that says I spent the most time with my coach and then all of a sudden can't find a way to even make contact with the baseball. It's not even like he's putting the ball in play that much. He's just swinging and missing or watching a ball go by. He doesn't look comfortable at the plate. And again, baseball's an ebbs and flows game. You may not be on your game 100% of the time, but Nolan Gorman's at a point in his career where it's becoming repetition now. It's that repetitiveness of missing, swinging and missing and not showing up at the dish. Right. He needs to be in the lineup. That's what the Cardinals keep saying. He needs to be there. Well, you can't be in the lineup unless you're getting hits, unless you're producing on offense.
Got to get one at some point. 0 for 9 so far on the spring. Andre Pallante allowed 4 runs on 5 hits in his inning of work, but don't worry, he's just working on stuff, so he'll be fine. He's a grizzled veteran. Last night in the nation's capital, the Blues turned in another dominant performance, this time on the road against one of the best teams in the league. Washington came in with the best record in the Eastern Conference, and the Blues rolled them 5-2. Thank you, Edmonton. Former Oiler Philip Broberg with a couple of first-period goals. Former Oiler Dylan Holloway and Edmonton native Colton Parayko each had goals in the second period to make it 4-2 after 2. And then in the third, former Edmonton Oil King Jake Neighbors with an empty netter for the final tally in a 5-2 Blues win. The Blues allowing 5 shots in the first period, 8 shots in the second period, 5 in the third, and then all those Edmonton guys providing enough offense to give the Blues their 3rd win in a row for the first time this year.
The Blues are in fantastic shape. And this is the best hockey we've seen them play all season long, and it's for 3 reasons. The first is you're getting production out of your top guys like we saw last night. Neighbors, you had Thomas, you had Buchnevich, you had Holloway, as Randy put it, all producing offensively. Then you have balanced scoring. We talked about that earlier this week. Production from your 3rd and 4th line. Schenner in his 1,000th game gets involved. Faksa, Joseph involved. And then you have defensive production, offensive production Did you know the Blues are third in the NHL in defensive goals scored? That's amazing. They are playing to Jim Montgomery's identity. And this is the first time all season I think we've seen that.
And Montgomery had that opportunity right after the Four Nations to get the team together, and this is with Binnington and Karraker playing for Canada in the Four Nations face-off. But the rest of the team was on the ice out at Centene, and there was kind of like a little mini training camp that Montgomery was able to have to get these guys on the same page, get his system implemented, and now all of a sudden, how about this stat? The Blues played 8 games in February. They went 5-1-2. They failed to pick up a point in only 1 of their 8 games this month, and now have their first 3-game winning streak of the season, and they're close again to the wild card. And a week from today is the trade deadline. The Blues are either going to do one of two things. They're either going to stand pat or they're going to sell. I think right now, the way things look, Doug Armstrong's probably thinking about selling. They're going to buy. They don't have assets. They don't want to give up assets. So it'll either be stand pat or sell a guy like Schenn. I think they're going to wind up standing pat.
Yeah, why break up what's working right now? The Blues are... this win was fantastic, and they've been getting fantastic wins. You may have looked at the schedule right after the Four Nations and said, this seems too complicated for the Blues to find their way into the playoffs. But now they have 7 points in 4 games. They just took down the second best team in the NHL. They should have taken down the best team in the Jets the first game back, but just lost in that shootout. And, you know, frankly, at least you can come away with a point and say, okay, we didn't sulk on that. We moved forward. This Blues team is connecting on all cylinders. They're playing the style of hockey that you want from an offensive viewpoint. They're attacking the net. They're crashing. Even Karraker on that goal, he's just standing pat right there, waiting for the puck to come in and knocks it in. This is a great sign for the future of the Blues too. It's not just about some of these older guys that, you know, Randy was talking about possibly moving on from Schenn, that leader in the room, but all of the production that we're seeing from the younger guys. We haven't even talked about Dvorsky in weeks because of how the Blues are playing.
The Blues will host the Kings tomorrow night, and then they'll head back out on the road. Hey, later in this show, you can help us build a parlay bet. Find a single bet that you like on DraftKings and send it to us. Andrew will make a bet, I'll make a bet, and then we need you, the listener, to be interactive here and text us with your bet. We'll put them all together to build that parlay. Just go to DraftKings on your phone and then text us on your phone what your bet is. It's easy. It's on your phone. You can do it in your car while you're driving to work. 314-624-0414. By the way, we're not advocating texting and, well, we are. But we are not advocating texting and driving. Yeah, 314-624-0414. And if you have any questions of us, we love to answer questions for you during the show. Text in or email us at thefight@matrixmidwest.com. Well, college football is turning into pro football. Mizzou is well represented at the Combine this week in Indianapolis. So are we. Gracie Barra of Matrix Midwest and First Alert for Sports reports from Indy.
The 2025 NFL Scouting Combine is underway here in Indianapolis, and Mizzou has 4 guys representing here in Indy. That's Luther Burden III, Brady Cook, Theo Weiss Jr., and Armand Membu. Now, head coach Eli Drinkwitz has had 20 players get invited to the Combine since taking over at Mizzou 5 years ago. And the talent he's developing in Columbia is something NFL GMs are taking note of.
Coach Drink, they do a great job there. Obviously, it's an SEC program. It's just they're playing against the best week in and week out. They just, again, I think they do a really good job there of maximizing their players' abilities and really showing us what we need to see.
I don't think he gets enough credit for that because the talent development is what's so remarkable. It's not just that Drink has recruited 5-star guys. It's that he's taken 3-stars, turned them into these incredible NFL prospects. And really, especially in this day and age, if you're talking about a recruiting pitch that matters, that's it. Like, you can come to this place, I'm going to develop you, I'm going to make you into something that you weren't when you got here, and you're going to end up reaping the benefits of it. It's truly remarkable what he's done.
The Tigers could potentially see 2 guys taken in the first round. One team potentially eyeing Burden would keep him in the state of Missouri. As Chiefs GM Brett Veach said, the team could look to add to its receiving corps.
We'll certainly always look to add weapons, and the last 2 years we've added 2 great receivers. It was a shame if she got hurt because I think he had a chance to be a top 10 receiver, and then the progress Worthy made last year. I think those guys will be a dynamic combination, and we'll see if we can get Hollywood back. But again, receiver will be a position too that we'll never shy away from.
Thank you, Grace, and good to hear the really high level of praise that the Mizzou program is getting from people like Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Packers, and Laura Rutledge from ESPN, and of course, Brett Veach. And we hear a lot about Burden, and he was projected as a top 10 pick before the season started. Armand Membo, though, is a guy that's probably going to go in the top 13, 14, 15 picks, the right tackle from Mizzou. And right now, with the necessity for protecting the quarterback, he's a guy that really does fit the NFL game because he walks in. We saw what happened with Philadelphia with the way they ran the ball to the Super Bowl championship. He can run. He can run block, but he's also a terrific pass blocker. Membo is probably going to go higher than Burden.
Oh, no doubt. And it's funny how most people aren't talking about that because when you look at a guy like Luther Burden, he's that skilled player. He's that fun, flashy player that can take over the spotlight. But Membo is the type of guy that, you know, he may be off the beaten path a little bit, but that's good for him. Like he's content with who he is as a player. He's good with being that guy that stands strong and knows who he is and embraces all of his skill sets. And you don't need to be a superstar in the league and show that to the world. You just need to be a guy that stays on the field and protects your quarterback as an offensive lineman, and that's what you get out of a guy like him.
And it's amazing. The Super Bowl was 2 weeks ago. And here we are, we're talking NFL. And right after this, we'll talk free agency, and then we'll get into the draft. The NFL is amazing in their ability to have people talking about them 365 days a year. They have marketing down to a science. And it's amazing that you can get people that are jumping and running and have people so interested in it. People wearing shorts and T-shirts, running as fast as they can on TV, and they say, oh, this is compelling television. Genius. The NFL, hey, they were genius in stealing our franchise. They are not dumb people, and this is just another part of their genius.
I think Luther Burden, too, would be an absolute steal for the Chiefs late in the first round. If he does fall that deep, that Chiefs team would be remarkable. Pairing him up with Xavier Worthy, with the best quarterback in the NFL, Luther Burden, the sky's the limit for a guy like him.
Thing is, though, like Beach said, though, they get Rashee Rice back. They're trying to bring Hollywood Brown back. They need offensive line help.
They do.
They need 2 tackles.
They do.
And so I would hope that from a Chiefs fan standpoint, if you're not going to work defense, that you work on the offensive line. Because why did they lose the Super Bowl? Because they didn't have good offensive tackles. And apparently they're going to franchise Trey Smith, their right guard. So the middle of the line is fine with the center, Creed Humphrey, who's probably the best in the league. And then Joe Tooney will be back at left guard. But they need to fix both tackle positions.
Yeah, it's just this Chiefs offense is just so dynamic. And if they could even add one more piece to that, it would be stupid watching them play football this season, even knowing Travis Kelce's coming back.
Yeah, they're amazing. All right, we're off and running. Coming up, how much do you really like Wayne Gretzky? And St. Louis and Jayson Tatum need some love. That's next in The Fight on Matrix Midwest. Hey kids, I got to tell you, when I had a problem with my heart 12, 13 years ago, I went to St. Luke's, and they did such a fabulous job. Here I am, I'm still here, and they provided me with an unbelievable level of care. My cardiologist, Dr. Rinder, has stuck with me forever, and I couldn't be happier with the service and the care I get at St. Luke's, the only hospital in the area to have an alliance with the Cleveland Heart Clinic and their Vascular and Thoracic Institute. It's the only hospital in Missouri named as one of the 50 best in America for cardiac surgery by Health Grades in 2025. And that puts St. Luke's in the top 2% of the nation of heart hospitals. St. Luke's has again been recognized as a best hospital in 14 categories by U.S. News and World Report. I use them, and I can tell you from personal experience, St. Luke's will be great for you. They have outstanding patient experience. As a matter of fact, their bedside manner is the best that I've ever experienced. And they treat you as a real person, not just as a customer that happened to stop in. You will love the people at St. Luke's. They're all about people, they're all about you, and they're all about making sure that St. Louisans are healthy. It's terrible to have a medical issue and have the next available appointment be 2 months down the road. They'll take care of you right away at St. Luke's. So get in touch with them. Any problems with your heart, make sure that you get it looked at St. Luke's. At St. Luke's Heart and Vascular Institute, they pour their hearts into taking care of yours. Call 314-205-6801 today for world-class compassionate treatment and tell them, hey, Randy got his heart taken care of here. I want mine taken care of at St. Luke's. Okay, question of the morning. do you want Alex Ovechkin to pass Wayne Gretzky? He's probably going to. And I know this sounds jingoistic and probably over-American, but and Gretzky's a Canadian, right? But I don't want a Russian guy to be the all-time leader in goals in the NHL. I want Wayne Gretzky to still be the all-time leader because he is from Canada. He owns a house in St. Louis. Not that I disrespect or don't like Alex Ovechkin. I just think that the Canadian sport should have a Canadian all-time leader in goals. So, do you want Ovechkin to pass Gretzky?
I do, and I grew up watching Ovechkin, and that plays a little bit into it as well. I didn't get the chance to
guess
watch
who he
him
was
watching
rooting
Gretzky.
for in the Miracle on Ice? he wanted the Soviet Union to win in the movie Miracle.
I was rooting for Sweden. I wanted them to beat Finland so that the final game could be better, right? No, Ovi is a guy that is a true goal scorer, and that's not what Gretzky is known for. Gretzky's known for being the best all time, and he's a great hockey player and a great scorer, but not a true, pure goal scorer. That's Ovi. I want to give it to him because records are meant to be broken, Randy, and if records continue to be broken, that means the game's getting better.
And one of the great stats in all of sports is that if you took away all of Gretzky's goals, he'd still be the NHL's all-time points leader, just with his assists. But, and you're right, he was not a sniper. He was just the most creative player in the history of the sport. And I hate to see the best player not have that top statistic. And to Ovi's credit, he's not just sticking around to break a record either. He can still play, he can still score goals. I just don't want him to pass Gretzky. I know he's going to, but I want Gretzky to still be the all-time leader. At The Athletic, our Cardinal insider here on The Fight, Katie Wu, writes that closer Ryan Helsley wants to remain a Redbird, but she writes, quote, he wants to remain in St. Louis, but understands the looming turnover in Cardinals leadership could impact his fate. He said, I would love to stay here. Cardinals baseball, you think of winning, well, not in the last couple of years, so surely they're not going to try to be average or below average for too long. Hopefully I can pitch at a high level for 4 or 5 more years, and still, Katie reports, there have been 0 talks of an extension. Kind of silly to have a guy heading into his free agent year and not talk of an extension. I can't imagine, Andrew, that he is going to be here. Ryan Helsley is going to be a Cardinal in 2026.
See, I think I'm on the other side. You want guys that want to be here on your team. And also, Ryan Helsley's an all-star. He had almost 50 saves last season. He showed what he could do when he bounced back from injury. Closers do that all the time. Aroldis Chapman was hurt nearly every season, and he's still looked at as one of the best closers in the game. Ryan Helsley can be that too. You think of his age, maybe that's what's pushing you away from him. Josh Hader is also 30. He also throws a fastball and a slider. You pay a guy that wants to be here, and that's also a fan favorite.
But if you're running a business, you look at your history. In 2006, the Cardinals had a different closer at the end of the season, Adam Wainwright, than they had at the beginning of the season, Jason Isringhausen. In 2011, it was Fernando Salas at the beginning of the season who threw the final out of the World Series. It was Jason Mott. In 2013, you start off with, well, you had a group of different people, but you wound up with Trevor Rosenthal, and the leader that year in saves was Edward Mujica. The most fungible position in sports, perhaps, is the closer. St. Louis and Jayson Tatum of the Celtics feels underappreciated by NBA fans. When he was asked if he feels appreciated, he said, quote, honestly, no. He said, if you took the name and the face away from all my accomplishments and you're just like, this is what this player A accomplished at 26, people would talk about it a lot differently. He said, I don't really want to insert myself in things that can't be debated. Did he win a championship? Yes. Did he win gold medals? Yes. Was he always a part of the winning seasons? Yes. Was he first team All-NBA? Those are things that you know are hard evidence. I'll tell you what, you listen to the national shows, you listen to ESPN Radio, you watch First Take. He is underappreciated by the people that cover the league.
Who's the best player on the Celtics?
He is.
Jayson Tatum. Who's the best player in the East? Giannis or Tatum, right? Mm-hmm. Who's the top 5 NBA player? Jayson Tatum. But no, we talk about him as if he's second fiddle to everybody else. Jayson Tatum is, before his age 26 season, or maybe it was through his age 26 season, 13,000 points, 4,000 rebounds, 2,000 assists, 3-time NBA first team, 6-time All-Star? I think it was 6-time All-Star and an NBA champion. You know who didn't have those accolades? LeBron. You know who didn't have those accolades? Michael Jordan. Now, do I think he's better than both of those guys? No. Those two are the best to ever play the game. But he deserves more credit for what he does.
He does. That's the key. The key word here, the operative word, is underappreciated. For what he does, for what he is, for whatever reason, people like Jaylen Brown of the Celtics, who's a really good player, but they want to have a divide between those two. There's no question that Jayson Tatum is underappreciated around the NBA. And oh, by the way, the Celtics had the first pick in that draft, or the Sixers did. They traded down so that they could take a guy who never plays, that's not there anymore. Jayson Tatum easily could have been a part of the process in Philadelphia. He landed in the right spot, too. We talked yesterday about Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford reportedly vacationing with Raiders minority owner Tom Brady, and whether that constituted tampering. I said no. Well, Pro Football Talk emailed the league, and here's what the league had to say. Not getting to when, where, how, if there was a meeting. Chief NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy told PFT via email, but he said there's no issue here as the club gave permission. So yeah, if Matthew Stafford wants to move in with Tom Brady, he can.
You know what's so funny about this is the NFL acting like they're playing Switzerland, like they're a Quaker in this case. Oh, now they're quiet. Now the NFL doesn't want to say anything about this situation. Okay, this is a total business email. But you know what else is funny, Randy, is if he does go to the Raiders, you have a 73-year-old head coach and a 37-year-old starting quarterback. I don't know, but maybe get the walkers out for everybody?
Yeah. And how much better are the Raiders going to be if they give Stafford, and I know they have to get Las Vegas fans back in the building, but how much better are they going to be if they give Matthew Stafford the $50 million a year that he wants? I'm guessing that that's what's going to happen, and Aaron Rodgers is going to help the Rams implode, which would make me very, very happy. I think it's a really interesting situation because the Raiders need so much. They are not a quarterback away like the Rams were when they got Stafford from the Lions.
They are a quarterback away, though, from being a good team again. It's not that they will be a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl, but you're absolutely right. And I had Brock Bowers on my dynasty team, so having a guy like Matt Stafford throwing the football is much better than probably Shadir Sanders.
And you always have the ability to have him hand off to Josh Jacobs. Oh, sorry.
Or any of those other first-round picks. They signed them, too, right?
Yeah. Andrew, the other day I mentioned that I thought Quinn Matthews, the Cardinal young left-hander, I thought his motion looked a little bit like Chris Sales. And our friend Mark Haffman of First Alert 4 watches the show. He's a huge baseball fan, and he's a great video guy. And he put together this side-by-side for us. Well?
Looks eerily similar.
So I didn't think it'd look that similar. So, but that's what I was thinking when I watched Quinn Matthews. I thought, there's a little Chris Sale there. Well, there definitely is, isn't there?
Watch that elbow when it comes back right there.
Yeah.
The elbow is in the same place, and then they both snap forward.
And the leg, watch the left leg and the way they end with their left leg. It's
smacked down.
How about that?
They're both lanky, so that helps too. Physically, you can picture the image, but it's odd. And look how that ball moves too, out of Quinn Matthews' hand and out of Sale's hand, going that same direction. Might they have a Cy Young on their hands, Randy?
I think
or
we do.
Cy Young winner, I should say.
Yep. You're welcome. Let's see if Dusty Springfield can help Quinn Matthews get better, the Cardinal pitching coach.
That was cool.
You'll learn here. You'll learn here that I'll do it once. I never call Dusty Blake by his real name. He's got to do something before I do. Hey, coming up, we have the Friday Fight, and St. Louis City SC analyst Jen Cease joins us to preview City's match tomorrow in Santiago on the Fight. And you know what? You can be a part of the show. You can text us 314-624-0414 right now, or shoot us an email at thefight@matrixmidwest.com. Later in the show, we're going to put together a parlay, and we want you to help us build a parlay right here on the Fight.
Welcome back to the Fight. The king of trivia is sitting by in the green room. He's in isolation. Randy, as Adele would say, hello from the other side.
Hello from the other side, which happens to house the championship belt.
Yes, the flashy, sparkly championship belt. Randy is currently 2-0 in fights, and you'd have to be feeling strong, my friend, right?
I feel pretty good, yeah.
Our challenger today is Harry. Let's welcome in Harry. Harry, good morning. Welcome to the Fight. You see the belt. You see Randy. Are you scared?
Not really. I think I can do it.
Good. Don't be scared.
All right. I like the confidence. Harry, this is a long time coming for you too, right?
Yes, sir. So I'm from Florissant. I remember my sister went to visitation, so every day when we were driving home from school, we'd pick her up and come back home. And if there was ever traffic at Ladue or at Lindbergh, I got excited because I knew that meant I would get to listen to the 4 o'clock fight when you did the fast lane with Brad and DeMarco. So
That's great.
I always loved listening to the fight. I always wanted to do it one day.
Cool.
I love
Glad to
that,
hear
and
it.
I'm happy today is that day. Randy, take your earpiece out for us so we know you're not cheating, which not like he needs to cheat. But Harry, let's do this thing. You know how it goes. You'll get 4 questions, and we'll start with this. Question number 1. In 1935, this city became the City of Champions when they won the NFL Championship, World Series, and Stanley Cup in the following year. What city is that? Is it Chicago, Detroit, or Boston?
Well, I know Chicago and Boston had World Series jinxes, so I'm going to go with Detroit.
Question number 2. In 2019, former Cardinals pitcher Edwin Jackson became the first player in history to play for 14 MLB teams. What team did he play for before he was a Cardinal in 2011? Was it the White Sox, the Tigers, or the Dodgers?
I feel like it was the White Sox. I'll go with them.
Question number 3. The Miracle on Ice team celebrated its 45th anniversary this week. Who was the broadcaster that delivered the iconic call, "Do you believe in miracles? Yes." Was it Al Michaels, Doc Emmerich, or Dan Kelly?
Love this. Miracle is one of my favorite movies of all time. It was Al Michaels.
And question number 4, Todd McShay, Mel Kiper Jr., and Daniel Jeremiah all have Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden III falling out of round 1 in the mock drafts. Who was the last offensive player out of Mizzou to be drafted in the first round? Was it Jeremy Maclin, Drew Lock, or Blaine Gabbert?
I know Locke wasn't a first rounder. I don't remember when Macklin got drafted, so I'm going to go with Blaine Gabbert.
All righty, let's welcome Randy back in. Harry, how you feeling?
Really good about the first 3. Don't know about the last one for sure.
All right, Randy, pressure is on. You ready to go?
Ready to go, sir.
And remember, you get 1 lifeline if you need it. Here's question number 1. In 1935, this city became the City of Champions when they won the NFL Championship, World Series, and Stanley Cup in the following year. Is it? Oh, I can't tell you that.
No.
Good thing I paused.
Well, you do the lifeline anyway then, Andrew.
Is it Chicago, Detroit, or Boston?
Well, Chicago and Boston went long times through the 30s without winning World Series, right? Chicago was 1908, Boston was 1918. The White Sox were a really long time, not 1935. So Chicago, Boston, or Detroit, it had to be Detroit.
Question number 2. In 2019, former Cardinals pitcher Edwin Jackson became the first player in history to play for 14 MLB teams. What team did he play for before he was a Cardinal in 2011?
Edwin Jackson is a great immaculate grid guy because of those 14 teams. He arrived here on the scene in the big 3-way deal with Toronto and the White Sox, in which the Cardinals got Corey Patterson and they wound up with Dotel. They sent out Trevor Miller and obviously Colby Rasmus to Toronto. Jackson was a member of the White Sox before he came to St. Louis.
Question number 3. The Miracle on Ice team celebrated its 45th anniversary this week. Who was the broadcaster that delivered the iconic call, "Do you believe in miracles? Yes."
Okay, so Ken Dryden was there. Was it him? No. So one time during Al Michaels, well, the Rams were here, and he was doing Monday Night Football. He came into town, and I actually got him to sign some photos of the Miracle on Ice. And I said, "Is that the best thing you've ever done?" He said, "By far, not even close. It'll always be the best thing I've ever done in broadcasting." It was, "Do you?" Yes. And it's kind of like Jack Buck's Go Crazy call. It wasn't pre-planned. It's he just said it. There's no way you can plan for a moment like that. So one of the iconic calls ever in the history of sportscasting.
And question number 4. Todd McShay, Mel Kiper Jr., and Daniel Jeremiah all have Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden III falling out of round 1 in their mock drafts. Who was the last offensive player out of Mizzou to be drafted in the first round?
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, let's start with this. Membo is projected to go in the first round, the offensive tackle, top 15, but he hasn't gone in the first round yet. So let's think about this. In 2009, when the Rams drafted, that was the Jason Smith draft. I think 2008 actually, with a Chris Long draft. Yeah, it was Macklin went in that draft, and then in 2011, Gabbert, and then they really haven't had a quarterback since, obviously. Locke went in the third round, and James Franklin didn't go. They haven't. DGB was a second round pick. Haven't had one of those running backs go in the first round. Haven't had an offensive lineman that went in the first round. So I'm going to have to go with Blaine Gabbert, 2011 to the Jaguars, right after the lockout. I'm going to go with Blaine Gabbert, sir.
All righty, let's run back through the answers and see who our winner is today. Question number 1. In 1935, this city became the city of champs when they won the NFL Championship, World Series, and Stanley Cup in the following year. You both said Detroit. You both are correct. Question number 2. In 2019, former Cards pitcher Edwin Jackson became the first player in MLB history to play for 14 teams. What team did he play for before he was a Cardinal in 2011? You both said the White Sox. You both are correct. Question number 3. Miracle on Ice team celebrated 45th anniversary this week. The broadcaster of the iconic call, "Do You Believe in Miracles?" Yes, was Al Michaels. And you both got that correct. So it comes down to this. Harry, if you tie Randy, technically it's a win. So let's see. First offensive player out of Mizzou before either somebody in this draft, and Luther Burden III is who we were describing here, who was the last one to be drafted in the first round. Harry, you said Blaine Gabbert. Randy, you said Blaine Gabbert. And unfortunately for Randy, Harry is correct as well. He gets all 4, and that means you have to hand over the belt. There it is, Harry. You can take it. The champ, Harry, how do you feel?
I feel great. That was a lot of fun. Wasn't sure about the Gabbert one, so I'm glad I got that one at the end.
Great job, Harry.
To the
that was
runner.
awesome.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
Harry, Randy's rule played against him. I know. He can he can be perfect and still lose. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Thanks for playing, man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And congrats to Harry. The belt is in the mail, but we send it via USPS, so you know it'll never get there. And if you want to fight me, send the word fight with your name to our inbox at thefight@matrixmidwest.com. All right, City SC opens up their 2025 road season tomorrow night at 9:30. And it's 9:30 St. Louis time at Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego. And joining us now to preview this one, as she will every Friday, is City radio analyst on Y98, Jen Cease. You'll hear her on the pre and post. And Jen, first of all, good morning. I know you had a great event last night.
I did. So good morning to you guys. I feel like I've barely slept between the two. The St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame had their 2025 induction. It's their actual 55th anniversary. And you guys know over 1,000 people attended.
Wow.
I don't know that they've had large crowds before, but I don't know that there's been one that big. The room was packed full of just soccer legends, old Hall of Famers, new Hall of Famers, and of course, a lot of representatives from the soccer community, such as St. Louis City had a table as well. So it was great to see them. Great to see Simon Betcher, along with his uncle, I believe his Uncle Bill Betcher, get some award recognitions. Simon Betcher got the Keogh Family Award, and that was really great to see a member of St. Louis City there being recognized by the community, and of course, being a member of our pro team.
So much fun. Hey, Jen, you would think that expansion teams, like us a couple of years ago, they would be walkovers, but St. Louis City SC proved a couple of years ago, and there have been some other really competitive new teams in MLS that you don't necessarily have to be a walkover if you're an expansion team. And so tomorrow, SC, regardless of what they did last week or what they think they are, they can't take San Diego for granted.
No, you really can't. I mean, if everybody remembers, it was about this time 2 seasons ago, St. Louis City had their home opener, and what crazy energy that was. So not only is San Diego a good team, they are a little bit of a press team as well as possession. They caused LA Galaxy to make some mistakes, kind of reminiscent of how City scored first against Austin FC 2 seasons ago. So they have a ton of energy behind them. They have quality players on the ball, and they have that 12th man, if you will, in their crowd, which seems to be chomping at the bit as much as City fans do. So City's got their work cut out for them with a good team on the road and, of course, the excitement of having their first home game.
Jen, let's bounce back to the opener here in St. Louis. Draws ended up being a playoff problem for City last year. How important is it to find ways to win the games you dominate?
100% important, especially the ones at home. So every City player will tell you, although there was a lot about their performance last home game that they were proud of, you missed those 2 points. You got one. You split points with Colorado. Colorado was exhausted. Those guys were exhausted from playing in Champions Cup. They were beat. They were itching for that 1 point. In fact, they did a lot of game delaying just to try and hang on to that 1 point. And that we know that MLS, compared to a lot of other leagues around the world, Coach Olaf talked about it this week, is one of the hardest leagues to win on the road. Away games are so difficult in this league, probably because of our 1, time change, 2, you can go across the country and have a completely different climate. So there's a lot of challenges in this league versus, let's say, a Europe league where you maybe travel up to 2 hours and you don't change time zones or climates. So we know that getting a point on the road is a big deal, and getting those 3 points at home are even a bigger deal. So St. Louis City missed out on that. They got to try to get 2 points at least out of these next 2 away games.
And Jen, with that being said, City did have 18 shots, 5 shots on goal last week, and the opponent last week, Colorado, didn't even have a shot on goal. But offensively, when you have 5 shots on goal, does City have a guy, that one guy that they can lean on, count on, that's skilled enough to convert consistently?
As this moment, so of course, last 2 seasons, or the first season, that was our Joao Klaus, right? Joao Klaus was our converter. At this point in time, the way Coach Olaf Melberg is running the defense and the offense together, we haven't seen as bit of a high press. We build out of the back differently, and if I gotta think about our guy last night who is at the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame. If I had to pick a player right now who's in the right positions, who was in the right positions this last game, it's Simon Betcher.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought up the defense, too, because we probably could have guessed defense would be a strength early for this team.
Of course.
Who impressed you most in the opener?
Oh, man. On the defensive side?
On the defensive side, yes.
Honestly, really. So Henry Kessler was arguably another call for player of the match. So Simon Betcher got it. I think Henry Kessler could have also gotten it. He came up big in big moments. Of course, he was really mad at himself that he was offside for that one shot that we actually scored. But the defense was solid. And one of the things that Coach Melberg wants them to focus on is being tight, right? Being tight as a unit, shifting together where you're not losing sight of one another and or your opponents. And Roman Berkey talked about how important that was this week. He was really pleased with the defensive kind of stand together overall and how they work together. So when you have your goalkeeper ready and feeling good about a solid defense in front of them, it's only going to mean good things for City.
Hey, Jen, one last thing, and as you know, and as everybody that's tuned in knows, we don't shy away from controversy here in The Fight. We're called The Fight. So your take on the new kits?
Oh, okay. So, people love them or hate them. I like them. I have no issue with a little bit more of a subtle. My favorite thing, of course, is the throwback to the shout out to the 1950 guys, who the 5 guys from the Hill who helped beat England. So I love that part of the kit. Personally, as a soccer player, I wouldn't love a collar. That's just me, but it's a very sophisticated look. So people seem to either they love them or they really don't. But they're growing on me. I like the subtlety. And if we win, who cares what the kit looks like? We're all going to buy one.
And here's the cool thing for a City SC player. They can go play golf, have a 3 o'clock tee time and then head on over to,
go.
right?
Not have to change clothes.
Don't have to
a little bit of your sporty and business cash.
Exactly. Jen, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. We'll be tuned in tomorrow on Y98, and as we are for every game, 30 minutes ahead of kickoff for the game setup, and you'll be a part of that. And we can't wait to hear you tomorrow for City SC in San Diego. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys. Go City.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, absolutely. Jen Cease, you can hear her on Y98, and of course you can check them out on traditional radio or free on the Odyssey app So check out City SC, and Jen and Joey Zanaboni and the gang will have the game tomorrow. Coming up, let's gamble. We're going to build a parlay for you here in the fight. All right, we always appreciate our listeners and viewers sending us a bet for the parlay, and Joe is going to have a bet for us in a moment. But Andrew, I've got one for you. The underappreciated, we heard it earlier in the show, the underappreciated Jayson Tatum gets a double-double against Cleveland. He's plus 130 to do so. I'm going to go with the Tatum double-double at plus 130. He gets a double-double every game. He's going to do it against Cleveland.
I love this play. Not that he needs any more motivation to do it, but this one seems personal now, Randy. So I'm all for this play. Somebody that, 26? Is that in total of what he has this year? So, yeah.
There you go.
It seems like a great bet at plus 130.
Thank you.
For me, I'm going with the other St. Louis boy. I'm going with Brad Beal, plus 110 to score 20-plus points, Randy. Plus 105 now, so that's dropped just a bit. And that's because he's scored 20-plus points in 6 of his last 8, and he's seen a minute increase, which I think is really good for this play.
He's the one guy that's happy about Kevin Durant always being hurt.
Because he gets all the time in the world.
He gets more minutes, And we've got Joe checking in, and he's got a bet on the Kings and Stars tonight. What's he got?
He likes Anze Kopitar to get a point. Some good value there, with just only 1 assist, 1 goal needed, minus 105. Really rounds out our parlay well today.
Yeah, very nice. So we round that out. We're at plus 820. If this baby hits.
And that means $920 in your pocket. Of course, you get that $100 back, and that's a pretty good payout going into the weekend.
That's an outstanding payout. That's a great setup for tonight. So here's last night. Ovechkin didn't score. I blew it for us. Who would have thought that Ovechkin wouldn't score?
It's crazy. In a game where you saw 7 goals on the board, the best goal scorer in the NHL couldn't net one.
Yeah. So you can be part of this. We'd love to have you text us or email us. We do it every show, so you need to be part of the show. 314-624-0414 is our text number. Save that in your phone and send us a bet every day as we build a parlay here in the fight. All right, we are counting down the days to March Madness here in the fight, and Matrix Midwest and the road to the big dance runs right through St. Louis with Arch Madness, and we're giving you a chance to catch all of it. All you need to do is head to matrixmidwest.com/archmadness to sign up for your chance to win 4 all-session tickets to the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament here at Enterprise Center. You have until Wednesday to put your name into the hat, and we hope that you do, and we hope that you come away with a victory. All right, coming up, we have Take It or Leave It, plus birthdays and anniversaries here on The Fight. All right, time for Tioli. Travis Kelce texted Pat McAfee yesterday and said he's coming back to the Chiefs. All right, Andrew, take it or leave it. In Kansas City's final game of the 2025 season, Kelce is their starting tight end.
I'm going to take it. Travis Kelce is going to make it the entirety of the season, and also the Chiefs secretly want to have Taylor Swift in that stadium at all times, and so does the NFL. I mean, she made $1 billion for them.
Yeah. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to say that he should have gone out with a Super Bowl performance, not a Super Bowl championship performance.
And that performance was terrible.
He's getting old.
That performance was
he
bad.
says, I don't want to go out that way. You should have wanted to go out that way. I'm going to leave that he is their starter in the finale, whenever their finale is, whether it's in the regular season or the playoffs next season.
It could be viewed as a toss-up, if we're being honest. Yeah. I was watching the NFL Combine yesterday, Randy, and Nebraska defensive tackle Ty Robinson ran the 40, 4.83 seconds at 20 miles per hour. He's 290 pounds. Take it or leave it. You'd rather get hit by a car going 20 miles an hour over him running full speed at you at 20 miles an hour.
Kind of the same thing, but I'm going to leave it. I still would rather get hit by the 290-pound guy than the 1-ton car. And Tyler agrees.
Yeah, sometimes when I see a 20-mile-per-hour car moving, it doesn't seem like it's actually going 20 miles per hour, and maybe that
you get hit
feels
by a car
better.
going 20, you're dead.
I don't know. I feel like I'll jump hit the windshield. It'll be a great Tom Cruise moment for me. I'm going to take it. I'd rather get hit by the car.
You do not have an awful lot of lateral movement if he's coming at you, because he's only going 20 miles an hour if he's running straight, right? at the end of a 40-yard dash.
I'll tell you, though, I'm a pedestrian, so maybe I sue, make some money, huh?
Yep. All right, Director Tyler has a great one for us, especially for you here.
Oh, no. All right, so let's see here.
He's going after our degenerate sports
Oh,
gambler.
I see you, Tyler.
Dave Ramsey, you know.
The guy that takes care of all the money,
Yeah,
right?
he does. He says sports betting is an addiction that's wrecking families and futures. Take it or leave it, we shouldn't be taking advice from someone who's filed for bankruptcy, then tells others the only debt you can have is a mortgage.
Well, the way that's written, I should take it, but let me tell you, we're talking about futures here, Dave. I love me some futures. I've actually placed some bets on some futures. So I'm going to take it, but just remember that the Blue Jays are plus 1,500 for all the degenerate bettors out there.
I'm with Tyler here. I'm absolutely taking it. We don't take advice from someone who's filed for we shouldn't be.
That's how you're a millionaire, right? You have to file for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
That's a prerequisite for being a millionaire.
There you go. All right, now it's time for birthdays and anniversaries. We've got a lot today to get to. Happy birthday to former Cardinal or Randy Arozarena, the former ALCS MVP. 16 MLB players, by the way, were born on February 29th. We don't have a February 29th this year, but happy birthday to Arozarena, who's 30 years old today.
Wow, fun fact.
Yeah. Okay, and I got to get this one in there. Former Cleveland Browns running back Ben Gay.
Why'd you have to get that in there?
45. Yeah. Well,
Oh, great.
yeah.
Nice.
There's Ben Gay.
I forgot he looked like he was read a lot.
Yeah, and by the way, born on this date, R.I.P. Ben Gay, passed away last year. Didn't know it, but born on this date and one of the more unusual names in the history of the National Football
Rudy
League.
Gay?
Yeah. Rudy Gay, yep.
Unusual name there.
Ben Gay, who is, I guess his muscles were always loose. Okay, anniversaries. 1940, the first televised basketball game. The University of Pittsburgh beats Fordham 50-30. Oh, we don't have highlights, but we've got a photo. How about that? I had no idea that, man, we've got a great director here in Tyler Klaus. So there it is, Pitt and Fordham, the first televised basketball game, no highlights available. And in 1989, Red Schoendienst was elected to Baseball's Hall of Fame. That was a real misstep by the Hall of Fame that it took so long to get him in, but thank goodness that the Hall of Fame did get Red Schoendienst in. All right, what's on TV? Busy day tomorrow at 3 o'clock. SLU hosts Loyola of Chicago on CBS Sports Network. Looking forward to that one. It's going to be a great day. So you've got SLU and Loyola at 3. And then at 5 o'clock, you've got Mizzou taking on Vanderbilt. Then you move to the Blues and the Kings on FanDuel Sports at 7, followed by City at San Diego on Apple and on Y98 at 8 o'clock. So 3, 5, 7, and 9:30. And then Sunday night at 8 here on Matrix Midwest, a Blues Classic, one of my all-time favorite games, the November 29th, 2000 game between the Blues and the Leafs. Blues on the road scored 5 goals in the third period and beat the Maple Leafs 6-5. It's great, and you'll love watching it. Sunday night at 8 right here on Matrix Midwest. Thanks for tuning in. For Andrew and Tyler, I'm Randy. Have a great weekend. As a matter of fact, have an American weekend, St. Louis.